So today we not discuss about the any new topic related to your syllabus, but we discuss about if there is any doubt related to whatever the topic we are discussing in a previous lecture. So I'm just go through the overall tutorial 1, 2, and 3. Any students have any doubt how we can solve this example, then you can ask me. Otherwise, any students have any doubt in terms of the any theory part, you can also tell me right now. So in terms of the tutorial one, first we discuss about the vector analysis, where we are understand the three different vector: unit vector, position vector, as well as the distance vector. So in terms of the distance vector, we are trying to find out the distance between the two different point. In terms of the position vector, we are trying to find out the location from the origin. So if there is a point is given to you, and from the origin, if I want to measure the distance, then we can consider as a position vector. And the unit vector, it's a vector divided by its magnitude, which is considered as a distance vector. So we discuss about these three types of the vector, and based on this we can add, subtract, multiply, as well as the divide the vector. So whenever you are deal with any multiplication of the vector, suppose you have a two different vector, and if I multiply these two vector, the resultant answer is the maybe a scalar as well as the vector. If it is a scalar, then it is nothing but a dot product. If it is the vector form, then it is considered as a cross product. So in the first example, the three different point is given P, Q, and R. Those who are already solved this tutorial, you can open this tutorial and you can verify this one. Whatever the answer you are calculated, it's a right or wrong. So if three different point is given, same point can be also mentioned in terms of the vector form, then you can write down ax minus 3ay plus 5az. Similar for the vector q, 2ax plus 4ay plus 6az. And for the third vector r is nothing but a 3ay plus 8az. So in the first part, they are asking about the position vector of P and R. It's very easy. You can directly write down it's a 2ax plus 4ay plus 6az, and similar for the point R. They're asking about the distance vector QR. It means you have to subtract the R minus Q, find out the subtraction of this two, and find out the magnitude of this one. Sorry, find out only the vector. There's some difference in terms of the distance vector as well as the distance between the Q and R. If they're asking about the distance vector, you have to represent the answer in terms of the ax, ay, az, if it is the Cartesian coordinate system. If it is the distance, they are asking about the distance, then whatever the vector you are calculated from this vector, you have to just take the magnitude part and you have to find out the answer. So this is the first example. In a second example, the two different vector is given E and F, and they are asking about find out the mode of E at some particular point. It's very easy. Mode of E is equal to under root of 2x whole square plus 1 square and plus yz square. So you have to just find out the magnitude, and you have to put the point 1, 2, and 3. It's nothing but a x, y, and z. So you can easily find out the first part. Second part, they are trying to find out the components of E along the F. So components means we are taken the projection from vector E to the vector F. So you can see the components of E along the F. So you are taken the projection from E to F. So you have to find out the E of F. So let we discuss when you are taken the projection may be a scalar as well as the vector. Then you can find out this E of F according to the scalar components of the vector field A, or maybe a vector components of the vector field A. In the third part, a unit vector which is perpendicular to both E and F. So in this case, you have to find out the E cross F, and you have to find out the unit vector of the E cross F. And by just putting the value of 0, 1, and -3, you can get the answer of the third one. So this is the solution of the A, B, and C for the second example. In a third example, the A and B vector is given to you. They are asking to find out the alpha and beta whenever the A and B are the parallel. And same as find out the relation between the alpha and beta whenever the A and B are the perpendicular. So what you have to do in this example? Any students have any idea?
So for parallel A dot B and for perpendicular A cross B.
Yeah, you have to take the dot product as well as the cross product. You can find out the relation as well as the value of the alpha and beta. It's very easy. In a fourth one, this is very important because this equation is helpful to write down the any theory part or any kind of your example whenever there is a required of the ds, dv or maybe di, differential displacement, differential surface and differential volume for the three different coordinate system. So in this case, you just mention this equation. It's already given in a book as well as the PPT. In example 5, you have to express the vector in terms of the cylindrical coordinate. Remember, there is a two main one is the express and second is the evaluate. If there is asking about the evaluation, it means you have to put the point, whatever the point is given to you, either xyz or either it may be rho phi z or it may be a r theta and phi. But in this case, they are just express the vector in terms of the cylindrical coordinate. So in the first part, the vector from C to D, but you can see C is the 1 point and D is the 1 point, and they are asking about the vector from C to B. So you are moving from C to D. It means you have to subtract the D minus C. This is the vector. So first of all, you have to subtract the D minus C, whatever the point is given. Whatever the answer is it given, it is in terms of some values, like consider the -1 -3. So answer is -4. -4 -2, answer is -6, and the 2 plus 7, so answer is 9. So you are getting this vector. Now you have to put this vector in terms of the matrix form, because they are asking about the convert this vector in a cylindrical coordinate. So all the functions should be, or all the values should be in terms of the rho, phi and z. So already the matrix is already discussed, it is already given in book. You to put this matrix, already value is given x, y and z, multiply this value and you can find out the answer of the first one. In terms of the unit vector at a D directed towards the C. So it's a C minus D. You have to subtract the C minus D, whatever the answer is given. Find out in terms of the cylindrical coordinate, and whatever the answer is given, whatever answer you are getting, find out the answer in terms of the unit vector. It means you are getting the sum vector after the putting the value of at a D directed towards the C. See, there is some difference in terms of the A and B. Whenever you are to calculate the vector from C to D, it means you are getting all the values in terms of the cos and sine. But in a B part, they are asking the unit vector at a D directed towards C. So what you do? First, you have to subtract C minus D. After the C minus D, you have to convert in a circular cylinder, and you have to put the value of the D. Right now D is given how much? -1, -4 and 2. So you have to put the value at a D, and then you have to find out the magnitude, and you have to divide with a magnitude. This is only the difference of A and B, and similar for the C. B and C is almost similar, but you have to subtract from the origin minus vector T. So whatever the vector D is given, put the value in terms of the matrix form, multiply it, convert this vector in terms of the point, which is nothing but a D, because D is already given, and whatever the integer value you are getting, after that only you have to just find out the unit vector. It means vector divided by its magnitude. So I think most of you are not completed this part B and C, and those who are completed, it's also wrong. So just concentrate more on this one, because it may be asked any question based on this one. Either they are converted from the circular cylinder, or either it may be a spherical coordinate system. So if you know the matrix, then you can easily find out the answer. Otherwise, each and every time you have to calculate the matrix. So it's very time consuming. In a sixth one, the vector is given to you and you have to convert in a spherical coordinate system. So you can see there is a only single vector, which is the phi ax. The ay term and az term is 0, so no need to multiply it. It by default it should be 0. So take the matrix, put the value which is phi 0 0, because ay term is 0 as well as the az term. Not ay and az, but the magnitude of the ay and az is 0. So multiply with in terms of the spherical coordinate system, it means it is the function of r, theta and phi. And after that one, you have to put this point. Now see, the point B is already given in a row, sorry, r, theta and phi. You can see both are the angle and this is our magnitude, r. So you go to directly put this value in terms of r, theta and phi. This is the solution of the A. In a second part, everything is similar, but the difference is they are given the point in a which system? In a Cartesian coordinate system. So you have to convert this point in a spherical coordinate system and you have to put, otherwise the rest each and everything is similar to the A. Only you have to convert this point in terms of the circular cylinder, spherical coordinate system. Next one is the vector is given, which is nothing but a three different direction. One is 4, second is -2, and third one is -4. So take the matrix which is converted in a spherical coordinate system, multiply with this 4, -2 and -4 and put the value. In this case you have to convert this -2, -3 and 4 in terms of the circular cylinder. Then you may be getting the answer. In example 7, they are asking about the vector h is given, which is in a which coordinate system?
Spherical.
In example 7, vector h is given, which is in which coordinate system?
Spherical.
Yeah, it's a spherical coordinate system. So it's a reverse thing. You have to express the vector in a rectangular coordinate, and whatever the vector is given, now it is in a spherical coordinate system. So already the matrix is already derived. You have to just multiply with this cos theta and the sin theta. The reason is AR component is given, A theta component is given, and the A phi component is 0. Yeah. So cos theta, sin theta and 0, use the matrix, multiply it, you can convert into a rectangular coordinate system. In this example, we discuss how we can find out the circulation of the path, because it is nothing but some kind of a line integral as well as the surface integral. Circulation of the path is nothing but a multiplication of the vector f into the path they are following. So if you see, some path is given to you from 1 to 2, 2 to 3 and 3 to 4, and this path is nothing but a closed loop path. That's why it is considered as a circulation of the vector f around the closed path. So what you have to find out? Integral, closed loop integral of f dot di. Closed loop integral of f dot di. So f is already given, di you have to somehow find out according to the whatever the path they are following. For the path 1, you can see it is a -x direction, it means it is the opposite direction of the x. In terms of the y, it is the in terms of the 2, it is the positive y direction. But if you see the diagonal components, the third one, where the 2 value is present, one is x and second is the z. So in terms of the di, it is the function of dx ax plus dz az. And for the fourth one, it's a z and y. So it is nothing but a di is equal to dy ay plus dz az. You multiply with a f and you have to solve it. Then finally you have to add all the components, and after that one you have to add this one, and you may be getting the final answer. In terms of the tutorial 2, it is based on the three main components of the vector. One is the gradient of the scalar, diversion of a vector, and the curl of a vector. So this is the first question. They are asking you to just mention the equation of the gradient of the scalar A, diversion of A, and the curl of A in a 3 coordinate system: circular cylinder, Cartesian as well as the spherical. Second example, the vector, some scalar components given. You can see W is equal to y square x square plus x y z. This is nothing but a scalar components. You have to find out the delta W, which is nothing but a gradient of the scalar, and the directional derivatives. It means you have to take the di is given over here. You can see 3ax plus 4ay plus 12az. So you can also find out the directional derivatives by just take the gradient of the scalar, divide with a di, and you have to put the value in terms of the 2, minus 1 and zeros. In a third part, the vector a is given in terms of the Cartesian coordinate system. They are asking about you have to prove it is a conservative nature or it may be a solenoidal. So if it is asked the solenoidal is the conservative, it means you have to find out the del dot A. If your answer is 0, then it is considered as a conservative field. If the answer is not 0, then you have to consider as a non-conservative nature. For example 4, you have to evaluate diversion of A, del cross A, the diversion curl of the A. Already the vector A and B is given to you. So first of all, you can easily find out in terms of the Cartesian coordinate system. So for that, you should know what is the del dot A in terms of the Cartesian coordinate system. Then and then you can solve it. Okay. For the example 5, you have to prove the divergence theorem, left hand side as well as the right hand side. Divergence theorem, it gives me the relation between the surface and volume. It gives me the surface and volume, and the bound is already given. X is vary from 0 to 1, y is vary from 1 to 2, and z is vary from minus 1 to 3. So you have to just write down this. You have to prove that the divergence theorem, which is nothing but a integral of the del cross A dot dv is equal to the h dot ds, integral of the closed loop h dot ds. So in both the cases, you have to prove both have a similar answer. In terms of the example 6, the vector scalar components given: v is equal to x square y square z square, a is equal to rho z square sine 2 phi, and they are asking find out the Laplacian. So you can directly use the equation in terms of the Laplacian. Otherwise, first you can take the diversion and then you can take the gradient of the scalar. Then you can find out the also similar answer. And for the last one, you have to prove the Stokes theorem. For the Stokes theorem, the path is given. The Stokes theorem gives me the relation between the surface to line. So you can see this figure, which is nothing but some surface which is located in a xy plane, A, B, C and D, which is noted a path they are following, which have some coordinate system is there. So you have to move the path from A to B, B to C and C to D. But for that you should know the relation Stokes theorem, which gives me the relation between the surface and line, closed loop integral of the del cross A dot ds, which is equal to closed loop integral of the f dot di. So f is already given and you have to find out the di, then you can prove the Stokes theorem. So this is all about the second tutorial. Third tutorial is already uploaded or is not uploaded?
Uploaded, sir.
It's uploaded?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have started with an electrostatic field where there is some. First we discuss about the two laws. One is the Coulomb's law and the second is Gauss law. So Coulomb's base already you are knowing the Coulomb's law. It gives me the force, and based on the force we can try to find out the electric field intensity. So first example is based on this one. Two charges are given which have a different location, 103 and minus 2, 1 and 5. And both the charges have a different in terms of the magnitude. There is also third charge which have a difference value in terms of the 1 nanocoulomb and the difference location. So what you have to find out? You have to find out the force on a charge 1 because of the charge, two different charges. One is 2 nanocoulomb and the minus 4 nanocoulomb. So if you know the generalized equation of the force as well as the electric field intensity, I can easily find out the answer. Okay, you have to just follow the some steps, you can find out the answer of the force, and at the same time you would also find out the potential at a particular point. But to find out the potential, you require the E is equal to minus del V. We discuss about the Gauss law, where it is indicate the total number of the charges in a given surface, which is similar to the number of charges are in a given location. Suppose assume there is a one surface which consists of a different charge configuration, line, surface, volume, anything. So whenever the flux which is leaving from the surface, then it is always the addition subtraction of the all the charges. It means it have a total number of the charges in a given surface which is similar to the total electric flux in a closed loop area, which is indicate the Gauss law. And using the Gauss law, we are trying to find out the electric field intensity because of the line, surface as well as the point charge. So another example is based on this one. 3 uniform seat charge is already given. This all the tutorial example which is almost similar in terms of the whatever the unsolved example which is given in a book, Sadiku. Okay, so already one example you can find out in a book which is almost similar to this one. So if you have any doubt, you can just refer this example and you can try to solve it. 3 different surface have a different location, -4, 1 and 4. Have a different surface charge density, 3 nanocoulomb, 6 nanocoulomb, -8 nanocoulomb. What you have to find out? We are not interested to find out the surface charge density of the 3 surface, but we are interested to find out the surface charge density or electric field intensity at some another location. Location is given to you 4, 2 and -3, and second location is -1, -5 and 2. So how you can solve it? In this case, first of all you have to find out the surface charge density in terms of the E. So already we derived the equation of the E, rho s upon 2 epsilon 0, which is nothing but electric field intensity due to the surface charge. So find out this one, and according to the location you have to find out the direction from charge to surface. Then we can find out the electric field intensity due to the different point 4, 2 and -3. In the next example, we derived the Maxwell's first equation, del dot D is equal to rho V. So you have to just find out the diversion, and it gives me the value of rho V. Second part, find out the total flux, which is in a given closed loop structure, X, Y and Z. So how we can find out the total electric flux? Psi is equal to integration of the D dot ds. Psi is equal to integral of the D dot ds. So you can see that right now the boundary is only X and Y. Z is constant. So that's why the boundary which is given, it is in a XY plane. Your surface is located in a XY plane because this is required whenever you have to multiply with a ds. So you should know which surface you are selected. So in this case, unit vector is the AZ because Z is constant. So we can find out this total electric flux. Fourth example, flux density is given and you have to find out the E. It's very easy. D is equal to epsilon into E. So you just divide with epsilon and put the value of point P. Find out the total charge within the space. So what you have to find out? You have to find out the Q. Q is equal to integration of the rho V dV, and rho V is equal to del dot D. Using the Maxwell first equation, D is given, find out the diversion of the D, it means it is the rho V, and Q is equal to integral of the rho V dV. So I can find out the total charge. Similar, you can also find out the total electric flux for a different sphere, have a radius is 4 meter, which is almost similar to the example 3b part. In a fifth example, electric field is given, find out the potential, which is nothing but a potential difference because we are trying to find out the A and B. So after electric field intensity, if I considering the movement of this particular charge by applying the force, then there is a work done is generated, and because of the work done, there potential difference is there. So we can easily find out this potential difference using this E. In a electrical dipole, we are not covered because this topic is not in your course. So I'm just skipping this part. Last one is you have to find out the potential with some reference point is given due to some charge particle, which is nothing but a Q. I have two different phenomena. One is the zero reference as well as the infinite reference. So already we derive V is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 R square into AR. According to the position of R and RB, we can easily find out the potential due to the respect point is zero reference as well as the infinite reference. So I think already we are completed the 1, 2 and 3 tutorial. So any doubt in this example? Any students have any doubt?
No, sir.
Any theory portion?
हाँ सर, थियरी में सर मीन्स डेरिवेशन कौन से करने हैं?
Just wait, I'm not getting your voice. Now tell me.
सर चैप्टर 2 में जो डेरिवेशंस आते हैं ना इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड में,
For chapter 2,
सर डेरिवेशंस उसमें कौन से करने हैं? मीन्स टोटल कितने डेरिवेशंस है उसमें?
see, whatever the derivation we are discussing in a theory class, each and every topic will be go. I just said the syllabus, just wait. So in this case, you can see it may be asked derive the Coulomb's law, derive the electric field intensity based on the Coulomb's law. This is the first derivation. Second is they are asking about the electric field intensity, where we are discussing the different charge configuration like a line charge, surface charge and volume charge. And we derive the equation of the electric field due to the line, surface and volume using the Coulomb's law. So this is all about this one. So there are 3 or 4 derivation over here. Similar, the different charge configuration, line charge, surface and volume charge already discussed. Gauss law it may be asked, and according to the Gauss law it may be asked derive the Maxwell's first equation. Okay, you just refer the previous GTU paper which kind of question they are asking. I am just talking about the theoretical question, because you can solve it the any example, it may be asked any example in a exam, but for especially for the this kind of a derivation part, you have to just go with any kind of a GTU paper with a code is nothing but a code is maybe slightly changed in your subject. I think 31411009, but it may be I think 31511002. Syllabus is almost similar, nothing is different, only the code is changed. You can refer the previous GTU paper which have a code 31511002. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you may be getting more idea which kind of question they are asking. See, this question is fixed. Either they are asking about find out the electric field intensity, either line charge, surface charge and point charge. આ ત્રણમાંથી કોઈ એક તો હોય જ છે. It will be fixed question. If it is not asking, then they are asking the any example based on this. From the chapter 1, it is also fixed. They are asking either any conversion, like a vector conversion from circular to cylindrical or Cartesian to cylindrical, spherical to Cartesian, any possible combination should be there. For the divergence gradient and curl, it may be asked any conversion or it may be any kind of example based on this. Okay. For the divergence theorem, sometime it may be asked to prove it, because it may be asking the question in 7 marks. It's maybe slightly lengthy also. To prove it the Diogenes theorem, you require at least try to solve the 8 to 9 integral part, integration of these equations. From the electrical potential, it may be asked what is the potential and potential difference. And we are trying to find out the potential gradient. Gradient means we derive the equation E is equal to minus del V. This is called the gradient. How you can find out? You are applying some force, and this charge is move in a free space, and you are find out this path. Now the location is changed. You are applying the same force, and the path is changed, but the initial and starting location are similar. So that's why we are trying to find out the Maxwell's second equation, which is nothing but a potential gradient. E is equal to minus del V. This is in terms of the magnetic side, Biot-Savart law. So whatever you can say, whatever the tutorial point of view which we are discussing, the only the question is up till this now. I am not given the any example based on this, but I uploaded the today or maybe tomorrow the some question related to this one. Means I am talking about the only mathematical question, any kind of your example based on this. So it may be as the Biot-Savart law, prove the Biot-Savart law. It may be derive the Biot-Savart law, which gives me the magnetic field intensity. Only we derive the H for the line charge. Another law which we are discussing, Ampere circuit law, and we discuss about the Stokes theorem. Now you can ask, this is all about this. You can see these all are the theoretical as well as the any kind of the example may be asked based on this one. And for this chapter 3, Faraday rule is very general. Displacement current means we are discussing about the Maxwell's equation in terms of the both the form, integral form as well as the differentiation form. This is also a common question. So many times this question is asked, mention the Maxwell's equation in both the form, and you have to explain the significance of this equation. What is the significance of this 4 equation? So this is all about your mid-semester syllabus. Any doubt for this case?
No, sir.
Okay. So if you have any doubt, then you can tell me in the next lecture. And remember your mid-semester paper, which have some theory part, which have a very few objective, but this objective is also based on the you to solve it and you to select the answer. It's not a something like it is a theoretical question and you have to just select any one of the objective type of thing. Okay? You have to solve it and you have to select the answer. Why it is something like, because if you refer this GTU paper, if it is completely example based, then definitely may be slightly difficult to handle it. But some portion you maybe also identify where there is a theory portion is there, but theory portion is also in terms of the maths. You have to write down the each and everything in terms of the mathematical part. It's not a something like you have to just write down in a some essay kind of your thing. Okay. So just refer the PPT as well as this book. Book is sufficient because each and everything I'm just following the Sadiko book, and each and everything you may be getting from the book. Okay, your lecture is finished now.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.